안녕하세요. 하와이대저택입니다. 오늘은 영국에서 가장 빠른 속도로 젊은 나이에 부를 일군 남자가 한 명 있는데요. 이분 하면 떠오르는 단어들이 있습니다. 레버리지, 끌어당김의 법칙, 시각화, 감정의 이용, 결단 같은 키워드들이 떠오르거든요. 눈에 안 보이는 그런 개념을 스스로 터득한 분이에요. 지금은 영국에서 가장 큰 부동산 기업의 오너이자 모든 저서들이 전부 아마존 베스트셀러 1위에 오르기도 했죠. 특히 우리나라에서도 레버리지를 비롯한 모든 책들이 베스트셀러가 되고 정말 화제를 일으켰었습니다. 롬 무어 씨를 영국에서 직접 줌으로 연결해서 만나봅니다. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
Thank you for having me.
네, 먼저 한국 독자들에게 인사 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.
I'm very grateful for, I think Korea are my most loyal fans, and they fly from Korea to the UK regularly, and they are the kindest, nicest fans on the planet.
이렇게 오늘 하와이 대저택 저희 채널에 모시게 된 이유는 한국에서 작가님의 책들, 특히 부의 속성 그리고 레버리지에 담긴 인사이트들이 정말 큰 이슈가 됐었고 지금도 여전히 큰 이슈가 되고 있습니다. 돈과 부에 대해서 일반 대중들이 가지고 있는 시선과 조금 다른 시선을 갖고 계시죠. 인생을 지금까지 어떻게 살아오셨고 그 과정에서 부에 대한 인식이 어떻게 달라지셨는지 먼저 간략하게 설명 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.
My dad was an entrepreneur, and he taught me to, he would always say, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I was shy, and I wouldn't ask people for money. I wouldn't ask girls on dates because I was worried about being rejected. And I remember going to school and then to university and studying hard and getting good qualifications, but I was still scared to ask and talk about money. I was scared of being rejected. I was scared of being ridiculed or disliked. And this happened all the way up to age 27. And because of this, I didn't dare go for my dreams in case someone embarrassed me or made me believe I couldn't do it. And then my dad had a nervous breakdown in his, he had an English pub, and there were maybe 70 customers in the pub all eating in his restaurant. And he had a nervous breakdown in front of them all, and the police were called, and he was arrested and assaulted by the police, maybe fairly, maybe a bit harshly. And he was put in the mental wing of the hospital for people with mental health illnesses. And I remember seeing it happen and feeling deep shame and embarrassment that my dad had taught me. And well, my dad had shown me more than taught me. My dad would go and get whatever he wanted, and he just wouldn't take no for an answer until he got what he wanted. And when I saw my dad with his mental health, it's much worse than an illness, but I'll just use that word. I guess I said to myself, well, things can't get any worse because my dad's in hospital. My mum and my sister don't know what to do. We had a family business that may not run without him being in hospital. So I guess I felt like things couldn't really get any worse. And so then I just decided to go and meet people in real estate and find other entrepreneurs and ask them questions. And they didn't reject me. In England, if you flatter people and you buy them lunch, you can usually get an hour of their time, and they will teach you for free for an hour as long as you go somewhere nice to lunch and you're nice to them. And this was something I didn't know that people would do. I thought millionaires didn't want to tell any of their secrets to you, and they would hide everything. And why would a millionaire want to go for lunch with me? But here's what I realized. I realized that if you show passion, desire, humility, energy, enthusiasm, people love that. Millionaires love that. Ordinary people love that. So when you don't have money like I didn't when I was 27, what you do have is energy and passion and enthusiasm and humility and a desire to learn. And this opened many doors for me. And this was driven by the pain of what happened with my dad and me being a failure and being £50,000 in debt. I felt like a real failure. I'm supposed to be a man and I can't even look after myself, let alone raise a family. And that pain drove me. And then I realized, actually, if you ask and you're fun and you're charming and you want to learn, people will teach you. And then I realized actually becoming successful and rich and owning real estate and running a good business and writing a good book, there's a system for this. People who've done it before know the system and they will teach you. And then this, I suppose, was when everything changed. So I was fortunate enough to become a millionaire by around age 30, a decamillionaire, which is in England a net worth of 10 million by age 35. Then I stopped counting. I'm now 45. And now I'm in the position where I can be that person where if a young buck with energy and passion comes up to me and says, Rob, I just want to learn what you know. Can I take you out for lunch? Can I buy you a coffee? I'll mostly say yes and help them.
레버리지도 그렇고요. 부의 속성도 그렇고 롭의 책을 보면 관통하는 메시지가 있어요. 말 그대로 자신의 가치, 시간당 가치죠. 자신의 월급을 받는다면 시간으로 환산하면 나올 텐데요. 그 시간당 가치에 비해 낮은 일은 전부 다 레버리지해라 라는 이제 그런 부분이 나옵니다. 그런데 이 부분을 굉장히 많은 사람들이 어려워하세요. 왜냐하면 월급은 정해져 있는데 이거를 어떻게 내가 돈을 주고 청소를 쓴다거나 이렇게 할 수가 있나? 이게 말이 되나? 어려워하시거든요. 아마 이런 질문을 많이 받아보셨을 겁니다. 이 부분에 대해서 한번 의견을 여쭙고 싶어요.
If the job you have has a ceiling where you can't earn any more, then you still can find a different job. You can do that job better than anyone. So I love your example of cleaning. You could clean and not be very happy and do an average job, or you could clean with such pride and passion, you're going to do the best job. And one day, a billionaire might hire you, and all of a sudden, your cleaning wage will go up a lot. I don't know if you know this, but there are hairdressers in England who charge £5,000 or £15,000 for a haircut. Now, a normal haircut would be £20. So this is 100 times more money. Now, you might think, especially with my hair, well, it's £10 or £20. But if you cut a billionaire's hair, or there's a TikToker who he travels to wealthy people's houses and he cuts their hair and he talks to them and he does the videos and he makes it into a little, almost like a little movie. And he charges thousands of pounds per haircut. So to anyone listening or watching who thinks, well, in my work, my salary is fixed, the amount you can earn is fixed, I don't think this is true. I think it's your mindset is fixed. And if you open your mindset and say to yourself, well, I'm going to be the very best at what I do, even if the salary seems fixed. In the end, someone else will hire you and pay you more. Or you change career and you find a career where there isn't a ceiling on the salary. Now, most people emotionally don't want to hear what I'm about to say, but I need to be truthful. And that is, we are all paid what we are worth. Because if we were worth more, we'd be paid more. And if we were worth less, we'd be paid less. So let's imagine your average listener here currently earns £100,000, $150,000. That person wouldn't go for £1 million salary, 10 times salary, because they know deep down they're not worth it. But that person also wouldn't go for a $1,000 salary because they know they're worth more. So what you currently earn, unconsciously, that is what you believe you're worth. So this is why I wrote another book called I'm Worth More. And I help people to know that you are valuable because you are a human and every human is equal. And you are no more or less equal than Elon Musk, someone on the street who doesn't have a home. So if we're all equal humans, then we can all increase our earning like some people who earn millions. How do we do that? Well, we learn what they know. We do what they do. We copy their strategies and tactics. And one of the things that rich people do very well is they manage their time. So someone who doesn't earn much money is being told what to do and is doing low-paying jobs. Someone who earns quite a lot of money usually gets to choose more what they do, and they can target the higher-paying jobs. Now, even within your job, a job or a career, you don't just do one thing. You know, if you're a creator, you record the video, you have the sound, the lighting, you do the content, the interviews, the editing, the short form clip, the titles, the thumbnails, there's so much to do. Now, one of those jobs, if you earn £100,000 a year, one of those jobs is worth 80,000, and 8 of those jobs is worth 20,000. So you've got to find that 80% job within your job and do more of that. And as you do more of that, you earn more. And then as you earn more, you can pay people and outsource the lower earning job. So the videography doesn't earn us much money, but the titles and the thumbnails that go viral, they earn a lot of money. The editing of my books doesn't make me much money, so I outsource the editing, but I do the writing. I outsource the cover. I outsource the translation into your language. I outsource, I'm coming to speak in Seoul later this year, and my publisher, that they got me that gig. So they find me the speaking gig and they manage the itinerary. What pays me is to do the speaking and to do the writing. And anything that stops me from doing the speaking or the writing is a lower value task. And it costs me not to speak and to write if that's my job.
정말 많은 인사이트가 담겨 있는, 그러면서도 정말 직접적으로 와닿는 그런 답변을 해주셔서 너무 감사드립니다. 저는 개인적으로 레버리지의 원리를 이해했을 때, 제가 비로소 완벽하게 이해했을 때, 그때 이 자본주의가 어떻게 돌아가고 여기서 내가 어떻게 하면 부를 쌓아 나갈 수 있는지 정확히 이해할 수 있게 되었거든요. 그래서 어떻게 보면 시작하자마자 대뜸 바로 이런 상세한 질문을 좀 드리게 되었던 것 같아요. 다시 좀 더 근원적으로 본질적인 부분으로 다시 한번 돌아가 보겠습니다. 가난한 아티스트였다가 세계적인 부자의 반열에 오르셨잖아요. 그런데 저도 그렇고 롭도 그렇고 또 이 영상을 보고 있는 정말 많은 구독자님들도 그러실 텐데요. 부모님으로부터 소위 DNA는 물려받았지만 부자의 소프트웨어는 물려받지 못했어요. 그런데 오늘날의 롭을, 이렇게 성공한 롭을 만든 그 깨달음, 그 핵심은 뭘까요?
I would say knowing my strengths and weaknesses with brutal self-honesty. So I challenge kindly every viewer and listener to think with me about your own strengths and weaknesses, but in a very honest way. No one's listening, no one will judge. Now, I was very confused about my strengths and weaknesses because I thought I was good at some things that I wasn't. And there were some things that I was good at that I didn't believe I was. And at about age 27 or 28, I realized actually being positive and enthusiastic and energetic and inspired and being able to generate excitement, I was very good at that naturally. I was very bad at research and analysis and algorithms and technical details. So once I actually believed in myself that I was good as a person who had high energy, I realized, well, I could be a good public speaker. I could be good at marketing. I could be a good storyteller. I could be good on video. I could be good on podcasts. I know I can do this. And so I started to pursue all these things because I started to believe in myself and backed myself. And then all the things I was not very good at, it was so liberating to go, I'm rubbish at that. I'll hire someone to do that. I'll find a partner that can do that. I'll get an assistant to help me with that. Now, I believe in your culture, you're much better than us, assuming the student mindset. In the UK, we can be a little bit defensive. Oh, well, what can you teach me? You don't know any better than me. And our ego can get in the way. But what I love about, certainly the Eastern culture is we respect our elders. We are humble to learn from them. And that's something that didn't come natural to me or doesn't in this country. So I had to learn that if I don't know it, I'm the student, they're the master. I do whatever they tell me, however they tell me, and soon enough I can get their result. So my life changed when I became really self-honest about my strengths and weaknesses. Now, false humility, where you pretend you're not very good at anything, is actually not good. But false bravado, when you fake it till you make it and pretend you're good at everything, is also not good. there's a nice balance in the middle where you go, I'm actually good at this and I'm going to pursue this and I'm going to chase my dreams and my career because I can do this. And I'm rubbish at this stuff and that's okay. It doesn't make me a bad person. I'm not going to be judged. I'm just going to outsource this. And it's funny because about the time that I figured that out, the universe gave me a business partner. And I've been with him nearly 18 years. We're going to a very famous person's 60th birthday here in the UK together. And we are very opposite and different. And the universe gave me him and gave him me when both of us owned our strengths and our weaknesses. Now, I don't know about school where you are, but school where I am is not good for entrepreneurs. Because imagine you get all good grades except 2 subjects. Our school system goes, oh, those 2 subjects are bad. You need to work on your weaknesses. Instead of saying, wow, you're an amazing artist, pursue that. Wow, you're an amazing musician, pursue that. So I was great at art and I was not good at geography. But my school was telling me to improve geography when it should have been saying, just go and be an artist and we'll support you. And now I know as an entrepreneur, the things that you love, that you're good at, chase them, learn them, be a student of them forever, always improve. And what you don't enjoy and you're not good at, outsource it.
정말 많은 생각들이 들게 만드는 그런 말씀이었어요. 일단 롭의 강연이나 혹은 책들을 보면 정말 불을 끌어당기는 모든 수단을 다 알고 있다는 느낌이 들거든요. 그러니까 단순히 시간, 돈을 계산하는 것뿐만 아니라 원하는 집을 상상하고 실제 이미 그 집에 사는 것처럼 행동한 적도 있으시잖아요. 롬 무어만의 자신만의 시각화에 관한 간략한 설명을 해주시면 감사하겠습니다.
I used to think that if you focused on what you want, you can get what you want. And I think sometimes you can, but mostly you don't, because most of us want so many things, but we don't have them. And so when I started, I would regularly visualize in my mind what I wanted, and I would write very detailed, specific goals. And I would even walk down the streets and look at the houses, or I would walk to the car dealerships and look at the cars. I now own 7 supercars, and most of the cars I own, I didn't want when I was younger. One of them I did because it was my childhood dream car. So I got 1 car I wanted and 6 cars I didn't. And of all the real estate I own, 340 units, I didn't want any of them. I just wanted to be successful. So this is going to shock some people, what they think the law of attraction is, because I've got a different view. People think that the law of attraction gives you what you want. I think the law of attraction gives you what you are. And what I mean by that is, in order to see it, first you need to be it. They say, when the student is ready, the master will appear. So the student has to become good enough to attract the master. And you have to be good enough to attract the loan from the bank or the business partner or enough customers to become wealthy. You have to be what they want you to be, and then they come to you. So anyone who's listening who wants to start a business or grow their career, there are bosses and bosses who are waiting to pay you more salaries. There are new employers, and there are millions of customers around the world waiting to give you money. But they won't give you money if you ask for it and say, I want it. They will give you money when you become what they want you to become. A great manufacturer of, let's say, Toyota, they know exactly the car that someone wants to drive because they have 100 years of experience. So they know how to attract the customer. They create fair exchange where their cars are well built and they're good value and people are prepared to exchange their money for it. And they create a level of service and expectation whereby you expect the car to last for maybe 20 years or 30 years. And you expect you only to have to maintain it a small amount of money per year. So if you become great at service, great at creating a product that people want, great at finding the sweet spot of fair exchange, which I write about in my books, which is where you can make fair money and the buyer is grateful. If you charge too much, you can make money, but the buyer's unhappy. If you don't charge enough, the buyer's happy, they've got a bargain, but you're unhappy because you can't make a profit. So you have to figure out who you need to be to get paid more. I remember Brian Tracy taught me, don't just do the job you've got, learn the job you want. Because as soon as you can do the job you want that pays you the amount of money that you want, you will attract that, you will manifest that job. But if you try and ask for money, but you can't do the job, no one's going to give you the job. So you don't get what you want, you get what you become.
사실 준비한 질문이 굉장히 많았는데요. 먼저 드린 질문에 대한 이 답변을 듣다 보니까 이 부분을 꼭 한번 여쭙고 싶어졌어요. 한국에서는 끌어당김의 법칙이다, Law of Attraction이다 라고 하면 예를 들어서 이미지 트레이닝이란 말을 영국에서도 쓰는지 모르겠습니다만은 영국의 프리미어리그나 아니면 포뮬러 1 선수들도 이미지 트레이닝을 하겠죠. 그런데 그들이 어제 저녁에 뭐 했어? 나 이미지 트레이닝을 훈련했어 라고 하면 와 정말 과학적이고 좋은 방법을 사용했구나라고 말합니다. 근데 만약에 어제 저녁에 뭐 했어? 라는 질문을 받았을 때 그냥 제가 어제 잠들기 전에 비주얼라이제이션을 좀 하고 잤어. 주말 동안 시각화를 좀 했어. 라고 하면 이상한 사람 취급을 한단 말이죠. 사이비 종교라든지요. 사실 그래서 한국에서는 이 마인드셋 중에서도 지금 로비 말씀해 주시고 있는 Law of Attraction, 끌어당김의 법칙에 대해 관심이 있고 이걸 통해 정말 성공으로 가는 그 길을 가는 거에 대해서 이 부분에 관심이 있는 사람들은 정말 머저리티는 당연히 아니고 마이너리티도 안 되고요. 심지어 정말 소수 중에 소수의 분들만 관심을 가지고 계세요. 근데 제가 알기로 영국에서는 그래도 이 부분에 대해서 훨씬 더 그래도 많은 분들이 관심을 가지고 있는 것을 알고 있는데 어떤가요? 영국은 어떤가요?
In the UK, the law of attraction is not very widespread known. Entrepreneurs and people who are into self-improvement and may know famous people like Tony Robbins or Rhonda Byrne or The Secret, they would know law of attraction. But most people who live an ordinary, normal life wouldn't know what that means. Now, in the UK, this may be different in Korea, but in the UK, there are quite a lot of people who know the law of attraction, but they're using it as an excuse to not do any work. And they're just saying, well, all I need to do is visualize and, do meditations and prayer, and I will attract it. And I think that the universe is in perfect balance, where yin and yang are two parts of the same whole. You can't separate them. We have male and female. We have a positive and a negative in a battery. We have light and dark. We have love and hate. And one cannot exist without the other. Because how do you know what love is unless you can compare it to loss and pain? You need the loss and the pain to give the context for the love. So in my humble experience of practicing for 17 years, visualization, especially if it's specific, and especially if you can engage the feeling in your body and increase your vibrational energy, I believe this is one side of attracting wealth and success. But if you do that and you stay in your bedroom and you never leave, billionaires aren't going to knock on the door and come and give you money. So you also have to work and to go out and to face the world and to take some rejection and to start a business and to have some failure. So there's the hard work and then there's the visualization, and you need both. So I learn a martial art and it's called Krav Maga. And I'm quite busy, so I can't train every day. But before I go to sleep, I visualize the move. And the more I visualize the moves, the better I am in reality. So it does work. So, if someone has a knife and they're holding it to my stomach, I know the move to push the hand away, to lock the wrist, and to do the throw. And if I practice this in my mind, I get faster and better and stronger the more I practice it. And so you can practice it in your mind. But if I was on the street and someone put a knife to my stomach, that's not quite the same. And that there's a reality that I'd have to have trained for real. So that would be my take on how the law of attraction works.
제가 느낀 바는 영국이든 한국이든 끌어당김의 법칙, Law of Attraction에 대해서 대중들의 인식은 비슷하군요. 아무리 론 무어가 나와서 이런 이야기를 하고 비욘세가 오프라 윈프리가 아무리 그런 말을 해도 토니 로빈스가 그런 말을 해도 대중들은 크게 관심이 없습니다. 그래서 제가 항상 말씀드리는 말이 거의 대부분 안 하기 때문에 일단 하기만 하라라고 말씀을 많이 드리거든요. 그래서 제가 하기만 하라. 어차피 하는 사람들끼리의 스테이지다. 모두가 다 하는 게 아니기 때문에 성공의 핵심은 여기에 있다라고 말씀드리는데 이 말에 동의하시는지요?
Yes, I believe in hard work, but also smart work. Hard work is putting in the effort. Smart work is putting in the effort in the right thing. So in the UK, the police and nurses, those two careers, which are very important, they're not paying very well at the moment, and they're quite underfunded. So you can work really hard as a nurse, but unfortunately, you're going to be stuck. Whereas if you became a plastic surgeon or you got into cosmetics, you're going to be able to earn 10 or even maybe 100 times more money. So yes, work hard, but also hard on the right thing, because most people who aren't doing very well in life, they are actually working hard on the wrong thing for the wrong company or the wrong employer. You know, some people, like when, you know, in the coal mines, you know, these people who mine coal in the coal mines, choking to death, they work really hard, manual labor. So work hard on the right things. And then one thing I'd like to add, because I'm flattered that you compared me to Beyonce and Tony Robbins, but with visualization, even if when you picture in your mind, even if that doesn't become real, it changes your energy. So if you're Beyonce about to go on stage and you imagine being in bed, tired, and a few people around the bed complaining at you and life is hard, if you imagine that, that's how you're going to go on stage. So even though you can't predict your own future necessarily, visualize a huge standing ovation, visualize the energy and the feeling, and that will change your state. And then you'll go onto the stage in that state and you'll give the millions of people that energy. And then they'll give you back that energy, and then everything gets lifted. So visualization is not just good for the images, it's good for the emotion.
오늘 이렇게 시간을 내주신 이 시간이 사실 돈으로 환산하자면 정말 돈으로 환산할 수조차도 없을 만큼 중요한 시간을 이렇게 내주셨다는 걸 잘 알고 있어요. 저의 책에도 그 말이 들어있지만 롭의 책에도 그 말이 들어있죠. 시간이 돈보다 중요하다고요. 그만큼 그 중요한 시간을 우리 하와이대저택 구독자님들께 시간을 내주셔서 다시 한번 감사하다는 말씀을 전하고요. 마지막으로 하와이대저택 구독자님들께 마지막 인사 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.
I have two farewell messages. One is I want to say thank you because you've been very kind, and this is actually my first interview in Korean. So you have done the very first one, so thank you for making it a great experience. I will be out doing some speaking in Korea later in the year, so I hope to meet some of you there. I end every piece of my content, thousands of times I've said this, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. So my final words would be that thing you want to do with your career, that person you want to fall in love with, that place you want to go, that hobby you want to start, that you've wanted to do for 5 or 10 or 20 years. If you don't risk anything and try it, you risk everything by never doing it. You will much more regret the things you never tried than the things you tried and failed. And what's the worst that could happen? You try, it doesn't work. What's the best that could happen? You change your life. You fall in love. You become wealthy. You live happy and long. So if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.
오늘 정말 오래오래 잊지 못할 것 같고요. 다시 만나는 그날까지 건강하고 행복하게 지내시길 바랄게요, 롭.
Thank you.